Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very latest CADS podcast. Now, this is not going to be an easy one because it was not an easy result. There's a lot of people who are very unhappy right now. It's one of those days, and we've had a few of those days recently, but we've managed to scrabble around and get the core members of the CADS podcast are here tonight. I am here, and I've got A here as well. Hey, A, how you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
I've had better days. Let me just put it that way. Just living with the result from yesterday, but at the same time, I'm trying to balance stuff. You know, sometimes you look at things, you're like your initial thought is, "Oh my God, it's so awful, it's so bad," and then just a little bit of time, a little bit of distance, and you're like, "Okay, I can breathe," and maybe things are not as bad as they seem. But every time I get back into it emotionally, I'm getting back to, "Oh my God, that was bad. What are we doing?" Just me?
Yeah, we're definitely the most hardcore supporters because, well, members of CADS because it's hard to be here today. It is hard to talk about this again.
Yeah,
Um, it's
it's
always a
painful.
more difficult podcast or video cast when we get smashed like that. And yeah, I think maybe I'll just save some of those thoughts for when we get into the nitty-gritty. But it's a very difficult day, very difficult indeed.
But you know, it's painful because we care. That's the reason it hurts. If we didn't care, then this wouldn't be a problem to us, would it? I mean, as I said, I was in the pub watching the game yesterday with a few mates. All of whom were Spurs fans, but big long table. And on the same table, I think there were two or three Liverpool fans in the pub. Okay, which, I mean, this is Paris. There's going to be bits of everybody. We had a Man City fan sitting behind us. Um, but all the way through the game, the Liverpool fans just sat there looking at his phone. Occasionally looks up at the screen and, oh yeah, we're doing all right. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm sorry, but if my team was about to win the league, there is no way my eyes would not be glued to that television. I would be taking in every single minute of it, every second, because that would be important to me. And I just couldn't understand someone who goes out of their way to go to a pub, find somewhere to be around other Liverpool fans and just sits there and looks at their phone. It was weird. It was a really weird situation.
Well, I think it also tells you how everybody really expected. It was almost a foregone conclusion. The first goal didn't matter. They knew they were playing Spurs. Come on, lads, it's Tottenham. Um,
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
again, you can only tell, what you can tell from the TV is very difficult, right? But from what I was watching, there were Liverpool players who didn't seem up for it. There were like two or three players who I looked at and I was like, yeah, they look really nervous. Salah, before the game, he was sat down in the corner and his face, he just looked like a almost panic level on the guy's face. And I just couldn't understand it. I mean, like, okay, maybe things go wrong today and you don't win the game, but you've still got multiple chances to win the league. This, you should not be worrying about it. And he looked genuinely panicked. I just couldn't quite get it. But obviously, once the game started, then once they got their goal, because they didn't have a good start, they had a reasonable start. They made a couple of chances, but so did we. We made a good start. I think we made a better start of the two sides. We made some chances and we scored the first goal. But after that, it kind of kicked them into gear and then they pushed on. Maybe we scored too early. Maybe we should have waited
I
till
was
the
gonna
88th
say
minute
the
before we
same thing.
scored or something.
We should have scored. I think there was such a
Yeah.
hype. I mean, people in the stadium, the streets are filled, and all of that. That can weigh on some of the players, like
Yeah,
don't mess it up
it can
today,
be.
sort of thing. Yeah, I guess that's what it was. But look, your experience is still better than mine. I was due to play a game of paddle, and three Liverpool supporters rocked up after watching the game in the pub. Um,
Yeah.
they were drunk and happy and wearing shirts that says 20 champions, and they were insufferable. But I had to put up with it. So yeah.
All
Yeah.
clubs, even our own fine club, has idiot supporters occasionally.
No, I
Um,
don't think
but
they
yeah,
weren't.
it can be difficult.
It was just watching them revel while we in the dumps. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, that's the hard thing, isn't it?
yeah, that they weren't bad. But it's just that's what it was. And yeah, look, we take small solace in that the us doesn't win the league.
Yeah.
But come on, man, how about a 1-1, guys? That would have still done it.
3-3 was what I was hoping for. I was expecting for a brilliant game, 3 goals each side. That would have been
Oh,
perfect. But I mean, Spurs really are the kingmakers of the league, aren't they? It's like last year we handed the league to City by losing against them. Here's a plate. There's the league. Can we just pass that over to you? And this year we've done the same. Like Liverpool, without the points they got against us, it would have been a much tighter season for them.
yeah,
But
we do that, and then we help make sure the relegation battle's not a foregone conclusion because we give all those guys their points as well.
yeah. Well, no, not Southampton, but still. Um, yeah, Southampton got to hate us. Two games, 2 managers sacked, and all over by their first team ever
Yeah, but you think
relegated
about
so quickly.
Leicester, you think about Wolves, you think about Everton, you think
Yeah.
about Ipswich, fuck. No, sorry, flip.
Oh, that's
My
all
bad.
right. But no,
Yeah.
we're gonna try and make tonight's one a quick one because I don't think people want to dwell on this too long. Can I just say, Liverpool were excellent. We can't take that away from them. They are the right champions of the league. They've been the best team all season long, and they probably would have beaten a first choice 11. If we put out a first choice 11 yesterday, they probably would have beaten us. But it wasn't a first choice 11. It was a mix of players who weren't first choice, some players who weren't fully fit, and some that needed minutes to get fit. And in reality, and I know you're going to hate this because it's an unpopular opinion, and we had a little chat about this earlier, but the league isn't our priority now. The Europa League is our priority, and all our eggs are in that one basket. We need to make sure that players are fit, players are not injured, and that we can push on because Thursday for us is everything. We've got 3 more games this season, hopefully, that count. None of them are league matches, not a single one.
No, I don't disagree with that. It's just that, you know, I really value personal pride, and from my own experiences, it's like how you carry yourself in those
Yeah.
dark moments or when there's nothing on the line. It just tells you something else about that group. I don't believe you're gonna have that extra edge when you're in the title race if you don't really have it when there's nothing on the line against a team that puts it on the line all the time, or at least plays
Mm.
with a level of consistency and pride in themselves. Will have that edge when it comes to that final bit. That's my feeling. I feel like there's fans that follow you through thick and thin. I feel for those guys that
Oh
make
yeah.
the trips, that sing their hearts out, and to say that and you can say that the league is not our priority, and it isn't, but you still expect them to play for the shirt to some level. You still expect them not to embarrass the club. You still want them to build confidence and carry themselves in a way that is appropriate for a club of our stature and size.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what hurts me. Nothing, not the other thing. I think if we lost, but really had a go and really, you know, try to play football or show some nous on this, and yeah, the thing that really irritates me is the lack of game sense. If you look at the game against Forest, I know we covered it, but Forest had to win to come up, to give them a shot of the Champions League places. We
Yeah.
needed to keep it really tight in those first 20 minutes. Make them edgy, make them change their ways instead of their typical defensive game, they would have to come out and play and give us space.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a genius to think about that. Liverpool wanted to win on their home ground. Yes, they needed a draw, but they wanted to win really badly to secure this championship. And the longer it went on with 0-0, there would be so much of anxiety, or 1-1, whatever it was, that would play into our hands. What about a goal here on the break or something, and then they don't win it, and then all the parades are for nothing, and blah blah blah. We pop their balloon, burst their bubble, and we didn't use that. We didn't use that. It didn't even look like.
We've not used a lot of things that were in our favour for much of the season, I feel. Like, it's been a long old season. It's been a long season that's been hard to fathom out at times. And I don't.
Whether it's a Bodo or um,
Yeah.
or after Bodo. We still needed this aspect to our game. Instead, we've played one way against Frankfurt, and we've not seen it again. We should
Yeah.
have been tuning that way, because that's what's going to win us the Europa League. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know much about Bodo, but I've heard that they're a very well organized side, and that scares me. I also heard
Yeah.
that they prefer to play on the break. They've had to adapt this year because they're the best team in Norway, but their
Mhm.
preference is to play on the break. That doesn't bode well for us. That means low block and hit you on the break when we've committed all our players upfield.
No, apparently they're not low block. That's the thing, though. Apparently they are not. They will push up high. They will press. So there is the potential for us getting in behind. At least that's my
Yeah,
understanding. I've got a chat with
hope so.
Spurs of Norway. Probably, I think it's tomorrow night, and we're going to be having a chat about this then. But it's going to be interesting then to see what his thoughts are on our chances against Bodø Glimt, because my feelings, and I think probably I think we need to again make sure this is a very short podcast tonight, because we could just get stuck in wallowing in misery. But my feeling is that we need to go there and we need to play hard, because if we come away and we haven't got a decent result in that first leg, then we're absolutely screwed, because it is not going to be it's not going to be easy playing in a tiny stadium with inclement weather, with effectively, a large amount of people in Europe going, oh, it'd be a dream for Bodø Glimt to get into the final. So for me, we need to make sure that we are professional in the first leg. If we're not professional in the first leg, then it's over, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a 3G pitch as well.
Yeah.
We need to go in there with something in advance. Yeah, something to hold. Or
Okay.
it's gonna
Well,
be.
as I said, we're gonna
Yeah.
we'll keep it short tonight, because this doesn't do us any favors, does it? It's not. It's not. This is not great for our mental health, I feel. Anybody that sat through that game,
Yeah.
congratulations, well done. I applaud you. It's not been easy. It's not been easy. Um, so yeah, we need to kind of put our sticking post against the wall, I guess. We need to push. We need to make sure that everything from now on works the way we need it to. We haven't got any space to slip up. We need to go. We need to make this work now, because three more games, three more games in the season that actually count. And I'm sorry to those of you that disagree with me. I'm sorry if I've upset you, if I've caused you any pain tonight. I did not mean to. It was not my intention. But we need to win this competition to do anything for our season. Failure to win the Europa League now makes this season an abject failure. If we continue as we have in the league, but we still win the Europa League in a decade to come, nobody will talk about this season. Nobody will talk about the losses. Everyone will talk about the Europa League win, and they'll talk about how we prioritized and we cut corners and we made it work. And so, fuck it. Come on, everybody. Come on, you Spurs.